Welcome to SVG-TV News for Wednesday, November 30th, 2016. I am Rochelle Batiste with the details. An eastward moving trough system began affecting SVG on Monday, November 28, 2016 and continued up to today, bringing heavy rains, flooding and landslides mostly on the northeast and northwest of mainland St. Vincent. SVG-TV's Bavin Oliver provides us with an analysis of the second situational report issued by the National Emergency Management Organization, NEMO, earlier today.
The St. Vincent and the Grenadines Meteorological Office recorded approximately 2.4 inches of rainfall at the E.T. Joshua Airport between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. yesterday. Rainfall data from the Central Water and Sewage Authority, CWSA, indicates that Spring Village received 5.6 inches of rainfall between midnight and 7 p.m. on Tuesday the 29th of November 2016. In Vermont, 4.2 inches of rain, Congo Valley 8.7 inches, and South Rivers 6.3 inches of rainfall during that period. A situation report by the National Emergency Management Organization, NEMO, indicates that shelter for 177 persons has been provided, and thankfully there has been no reported deaths. The report also indicates that so far 15 houses has been destroyed, 20 damaged, and 6 flooded. There has also been reports of several landslides across SVG, with 8 bridges and 8 roads damaged. The Roads, Bridges and General Services Authority are conducting assessments and cleanup operations. The Central Water and Sewage Authority, CWSA, reported that Jennings system is down and affected water supply in the following areas: Byra, Mannings Village, Connery, Park Hill, South Rivers, Mount Grennan, Diamonds Village, New Grounds, Lowmans Windward, Hadley's Village, North Union, South Union, Cedars, Bayaboo, Jeffrey, Spring, Peruvian Vale, Argyle, Mount Pleasant, Raraku, Stubbs, Calder, Carapan, and Diamond. The following areas were affected by the Perseverance system: Mount Young, Georgetown, Dixon, O'Brien's Valley, Spring, Mount Bentic, Langley Park, Chapman's Village, Rabaca, Orange Hill, Field 18, and Turama. Water supply is also affected in the North Leeward area from Coles Hill to Richmond. The St. Vincent Electricity Services reported that electricity supply was restored in the following areas: Hope, Perseverance, Congo Valley, and other areas of Georgetown, and from Richmond to Cumberland. The following areas are without electricity due to the inclement weather: Richmond Vale Academy, and areas on the north such as Overland, Magum, London, Sandy Bay, Point, Oya, and Fancy. The National Emergency Management Operations Center remains partially activated today, and the Housing and Infrastructure Damage Assessment is expected to commence today. Bavin Oliver, SVG Television, Evening News.
And the trough system has left many roads and bridges in the northern part of the island impassable, and many residents displaced from their homes. As we hear in this report from Cheldine Lewis, the Rosebank community on the leeward side of the island was not spared from the damage.
Many of the villages in the Rosebank community were severely affected by the trough system, which has been affecting St. Vincent since Monday night. Multiple landslides were reported in the area as heavy rains continued to pour into Tuesday and Wednesday morning.
We did home all the time just watching the place, and then we hear like a shower come down behind the house, but a little drop of mud. When we look outside, I tell my boyfriend there's a tree in the road, and we run out of the house and we jump the window and we go walk through the bush and go by his brother.
Another resident, Keisha Harry, reported that her shop was flooded and covered in mud.
I was at home in my sleep about after 12, and then one of my cousins come and call me and tell me a lot of rain falling and the shop like it washing away. After that I say I leave everything in God's hand, because at the end of the day I can't really do much, but I still not come outside and move the vehicle. And when I came down here, this is what I see happening: water flowing over the bank and stuff like that. So we just decided to go by a neighbor and just hang around, because also by my house I have some damages there too. So I just gonna stick up there. So we just decided to stay up until morning and this is what took place after everything.
The Rosebank Cemetery, which is nearby, has also been affected. Its banks are slowly being washed away by rainwaters and land slippage. Many of the villagers have taken refuge at the community shelter, which currently houses 53 persons from 12 different families whose homes have been affected by floodwaters.
I have a washing over the house. It's 5 times now. Every time I have a disaster, it always broken down and jump to the house of my house. So through that, you cannot stay inside the house. You have to run out the house because the water was coming down from the bank, running to the house. And then we have no water all now because the disaster took all the pipe then throw them into the sea. So right now we don't have no water at home.
When I look out and I see the water coming down heavy, I wake up my children them and I get out. But when I go down to my neighbor house, my foot go down in a amok. And then when I reach the cross, I was telling my children and them, let we go up by the other side. But then my son say, that my son, he say, come mommy, come, let me see if we could run across. And then we get to run across. And when we run across and we didn't know, we see the water start to come heavy and it was very scary.
I was living in Trigger Hill and 2 landslides came down. And then it take the whole yard and jam to the house, go right down to the bottom, and then we did have to run out of the house for the morning.
So at the same time, it will not come heavy. I go back and take a little lay down. I go back and take a little lay down, I feel like me get wet. So I wake up now, and my foot, put my foot around, place done flat already. So I have to jump out and call me neighbor them. So them they run and me run too. So I go back there now, we hold in front, they don't go. I lose everything, they put me out to the right one now.
So what time is this?
That is about minutes to 12 in the night.
Monday night?
Yeah,
okay.
that one.
Did you receive anything? Did you save anything from your house?
Nothing, I close everything wet up, I have nothing. It just so me to run. My bag lady, I just have 2 sheets, man. Yeah, I don't have nothing.
Shelter manager Everell Harry expressed his sympathies for his fellow villagers, noting that the shelter is doing its best to make persons being housed there comfortable.
I know later on Nemo tripping with some water and other things of that sort, like blankets and so. I know that for sure. I spoke to them all this morning already, as a matter of fact yesterday.
Residents in the North Leeward community continue to take the necessary precautions in preparing for the inclement weather. Reporting for SVG-TV News, I am Traldine Lewis.
In North Windward Area Representative Montgomery Daniel said there are about 37 families in shelter in the Sandy Bay area at this time. As to the condition of the roads in the area, the MP says Praxa is doing its utmost to make some sections passable to vehicular traffic, but it is a difficult situation to get from one location to the next.
Bridges, they are gone, but what is good is that the deposits that would have come alongside the 2 bridges, one at Rabaka Miss Jane and the one at London, the deposits are in line, it is full in line with the lip of the bridge. And so it is relatively flat across the rivers, and so we are using those deposits to cross across the rivers. The bridges themselves are gone, but we are able to, because of the deposits that are in the rivers, we are able to use that so that we can cross the rivers really. And that's how we have been able to have that kind of access to cross between Sandy Bay and Georgetown.
What about the shelterings? How are they coping? What is the situation there? How many persons?
Well, my last count was that we had 37 families at the shelter. It was just about, I think it's 198 or so persons. Nemo has assisted tremendously. They have come in this morning. They brought in food stuff, and they would have brought in clothing and blankets and some mattresses. So they have responded pretty okay. The persons they're pretty okay. They're coping.
As it relates to the basic Essentials Minister Daniel says teams from VINLEC and the CWSA are now in the area working to restore water and power to some areas, at least up to the Sandy Bay School, which is being used as a shelter. The North Windward MP says beyond the school, however, the situation looks quite challenging, but they are working as best as they can to at least provide an access road.
Braxa with its heavy equipment and so on working there. But I can tell you it's very difficult. It's a lot of material that has been deposited on the road. And just beyond the Anglican Church, you have half of that main road that would have been slipped. And it's not going to be easy for them to cross there. The chief engineer is scheduled to be here at any time now, where we are going to be looking at either diverting that road, or we may have to take in some land which is private property, and that is, it's going to be a bit of difficulty for going beyond Sandy Bay. We are trying to see if VINLEC can really get across and to try and see if we can have the poles in to try and have electricity further than Sandy Bay. But it's a challenge to us, and it's a lot of work still to be done.
The Roads, Bridges and General Services Authority, BRAXA, is continuing its work to clear roads and repair infrastructure such as bridges in the affected areas. The company's communications officer, Roxanne Marshall Milliton, said on both the windward and leeward side of the island there has been reports of landslides and road blockage, and that several bridges on the windward side were badly affected.
On the windward side, we had to clear the Lady Jane Bridge. Some part of it is not accessible, but we are still asking persons to take the necessary precaution as they go over that bridge. In Orange Hill, that bridge was badly affected. We were able to clear portions of it yesterday. London Bridge, sections of the deck was scoured out. Carroll Bridge in Sandy Bay, the approach on the northern side was scoured out. No vehicular traffic can pass at this time. Sections of the Perseverance Road is impassable as the entire section was taken by the river. The bridge by Sinclair Crichton, that's in O'Brien's Valley leading up to Dixon, is impassable, and we are unable to assess whether the deck is still there at this time.
Milliton spoke of some of the work being done to clear block roadways and stated that BRAXA has been placing emphasis on the highway between the Sandy Bay Secondary School and the Keio River to allow teams from VINLEC and the CWSA to get to the areas to conduct restoration work.
In Toroma, just before Kelvin Bristol, the roadway there is damaged. Damages to roadway at Dixon below the primary school. We also had some flooding in the Carroll area where the temporary bridge was. Valley Bridge, Cane Hole Road, those areas are blocked. We had blockages in South Rivers. That was cleared yesterday. Landslide this morning in Spring. We had 2 landslides there this morning, which we are currently clearing. And we also have landslides in Acres, Yambo, Ribishi. We have deployed heavy equipment to clear those areas. Our main focus today on the windward side of the island is to clear the main highway between the Sandy Bay Secondary School to Carroll River for VINLEC and CWSA to go in and do their restoration work.
The communication officer added that BRAXA has also been engaged in work on the leeward side of the island, clearing several road blockage and landslides.
A number of landslides occur on the leeward side. The last count we got from our team there was up to 50 landslides. We had slides in Gordnia leading up to Spring. This was cleared. Also in the Curtains area, Belle Isles area, we are currently working on those areas. The roadway outside the VINLEC power plant leading to Cumberland, that area was cleared. Cumberland Road, there was a build-up of silt there, which we are currently working on. 3 landslides in Coes Hill, and a house was also damaged in that area. We were able to clear slides up to Rosebank yesterday. Slides in Rose Hall, a machine was deployed there, and that was cleared. We also cleared the road in Richmond up to Rose Hall, but only a one-lane traffic at this time.
Millington also used the opportunity to urge the general public to exercise caution during this time.
Still have areas that are a bit challenging, but still motorable, and we want to appeal to the public to exercise extreme caution. The soils are still saturated, so we expect more landslides, and as we can see, the rains have been consistent since yesterday. I know persons want to go out and take pictures and videotape what is happening, but we want them to exercise extreme caution while doing so.
We must change our attitude and get serious about climate change and its effects. That's the advice from Forestry Officer responsible for the North Windward area, Joel Poyer, as he spoke with our news team on Tuesday in the Rabuka area, where work was being carried out to clear a badly damaged bridge and restore access to the northern part of the island. Poyer noted that the damage was seemingly caused by a combination of the effects of climate change and man's poor practices, namely illegal farming in the mountains, and called on all to be mindful of climate change as it has the potential to affect every Vincentian.
A number of things that has been taking place. One, you have illegal farmers up in the mountain cutting trees in an area that is inaccessible. So basically they would cut and those trees would just stay there. But besides that, if you could recall, in 2014, I had mentioned about climate change and its impact. This is one of the situations that we are facing as a small nation with climate change. And we have to change our whole attitude and get serious. We are a small nation, we can't do much. But if we take stock of what is happening and address it in any serious way, we're able to alleviate some of these situations.
Poyer also called for a serious education program as part of the measures to be used to combat the effects of climate change.
We can't control nature, and nature will revert to its natural course. And that is what happened in the area of Sandy Bay and Powyer and London. If you could get across and see that situation, it's not something that you like to see. And it should seriously impact these communities. Maybe the government would have to seek for assistance from outside resources, because as I said before, this is a combination of climate change and what is impacting on us. And we do not have the resources available to readily address some of these situations. We need funding. And one of the things that has to go with it is that we have to have a serious education program to educate and inform and let everyone get on board, because all of us would be affected.
A badly decomposed body was discovered this afternoon on the beachfront in the Connery area. According to the police, they are unable to say whether the body was washed downstream from the nearby Park Hill Cemetery. The matter is under investigation. Vincentians are to benefit from the creation of more jobs expected to come through the commencement of both public and private investments here. Speaking at a media conference on Monday, Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves noted that persons can also look forward to the availability of jobs outside of SVG. Pointing out various ongoing and upcoming projects, PM Gonsalves commended the work of various ministries in seeking job opportunities outside the borders of SVG, cognizant of the fact that workers can indeed be mobilized.
So very shortly, this week I think, we are having persons who are coming down from the Navy, the UK Navy, to do preliminary recruitment. So Louis thinks that, he spoke to me, thinks that we could probably have recruited in the region of well up to 100 persons to be added on the list to get the visas, the farm workers' visas to go to the United States. Remember, their name was added on the list. There was and the recruitment by the relevant persons will take place very shortly. Saboto has not been around for a couple of days, and we dispatched him to Western Canada, again, where they're looking for farm workers. It is probable that we could get up to 500 persons on that particular program.
The Prime Minister also said that persons can expect to benefit from the annual Christmas road cleanup program scheduled to commence soon. He also made note of the upcoming estimates and budget presentations.
He gave instructions to Minister Francis to begin the arrangements for the regular Christmas work, to have it done in time so that persons can get some additional monies. People who tend to do that kind of Christmas cleaning on the road for because you notice, even though we did a real good cleaning at Independence, because of the amount of rains, you see how the curbs, the grass is back again. I will do the estimates in for 2017 in January. The public servants have been meeting. Later today I have to speak to Edmund Jackson to give him the date which I have in mind in January. Edmund Jackson is the budget director. And after the estimates, of course, the budget will follow.
Commenting on the recent spike in criminal activities here, PM Gonzalez described the actions of the perpetrators as senseless. At a media conference on Monday, the Prime Minister said there has to be a more proactive approach in tackling the source of crime and violence in our society today.
I know the police has made a presentation to Cabinet on Wednesday. I spoke to Sir Louis about that. I was chairing Cabinet because I was away, but I was kept informed, and I know there are additional things which the police are doing. But I just want to make this point about crime. We don't produce the firearms. We don't produce the bullets. And unfortunately, we can't police every part of the several islands, the 32 islands that make up St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So it's an ongoing challenge, really. But none of us can be happy. None of us can be satisfied with young people or people generally getting killed.
Highlighting that most of the criminal activities are being committed by young males, PM Gonzalez stressed the need for greater involvement of community institutions, especially the family, to work closer with security personnel in grooming these young men.
Going about their business, persons involved in technical trades of one kind or another, in IT, in sports and culture, far more than those who are making the headlines, either as somebody who gets killed or somebody who has done the shooting. Some of the people who are killing one another is not an issue because they're having a problem with the economy. There are a number of other reasons, including greed, including, as I say, territory, and a number of other things of ridiculous vanity. So it's the analysis can't be a simplistic, one-dimensional analysis, and we all have a very important role to play. But from my standpoint, as Prime Minister, I have to make sure that the police is in good shape. Further, to make sure that we have young people being involved in meaningful activity in sports, and the cadets, Pan Against Crime.
In relation to the matter involving 18-year-old Jamari Batiste of Sandy Bay, who is the main suspect in the killing of 4 persons here recently, the Prime Minister said he prefers not to comment on it as there has to be a greater analysis on the matter.
There's always a scope for blame, throwing of blame. One side says that person, another side says that person. This system failed, that system failed. Well, I don't have that luxury of finger pointing like that. I have to be very dispassionate in the analysis and get all the information. The judicial system has to take its own course. But obviously there are issues which involve in mental health, community activity, parenting, policing, the judicial system. Was the ball dropped by one or more persons along the way? There are people who say to me, but in the United States of America and in Canada and in Britain, in France and other places, there are people who go about on these sprees, killing sprees. I said, yes, that's true, but it's not supposed to happen here.
Vincentian Calvert Brown, also known as Buju, is one of 2 persons killed in a motor vehicle accident in Virgin Garden last night. According to reports, the bodies of Brown and Guyanese national Dexter Katoy, who were employees of Yates and Associates, were found in the vehicle that they were traveling in that seemingly plunged some 150 feet downhill in the Savannah Bay Beach area. The Royal Virgin Islands Police Force, in a media release, said initial inquiries indicate that the 2 men were traveling from the valley to North Sound when the accident took place. The RVIPF further said investigations are ongoing. And police in Tortola are in search of 51-year-old Vincentian Renal Leslie Peters, who is a suspect in a domestic incident where a woman is said to have received severe wounds to her arms and body. According to a bulletin from the Tortola police, anyone who has seen and knows the whereabouts of Peters is asked to call the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force. 3-digit access number 311 or give this information at any police station around the island. The female victim, reportedly a school teacher, is being treated at Pebbles Hospital. She is said to be in critical but stable condition. Details of the incident are sketchy at this time.